Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 1986 film Aliens, and this is directed by James Cameron and stars Sigourney Weaver, Michael Biehn and Bill Paxton. When Ellen Ripley awakes 56 years after the events of the first film, she acts as an advisor to a team of Marines who want to find out what happened on the planet LV-426 when communication is lost, and better yet, blow the aliens away once and for all. Man, where do you even start with Aliens? This is the trouble I have when I review my favourite movies of all time. I love doing it, but I never really know where to start because there's so much I want to say. There's so much to get into. So spoiler warning there, guys. I do like this movie a hell of a lot. And spoiler warning for the video, I probably will talk spoilers on this review as well. But this is the director's cut I'm talking about, or the special edition, or whatever you want to call it. This is the only version I ever really watched since the first time I seen it. Now, this all started with my uncle, Levi, who says this is his favourite movie of all time. And to this day, it still is his favourite movie of all time. And he had this on VHS back in the day, and I had never seen Alien or Alien 3. This was my first introduction to this franchise, and I remember being absolutely blown away by this film. He promised me that I'd like it, and when I got home and watched it, I couldn't believe my eyes, and I have watched it many times since. This is one of them movies that I have seen more times than a lot of other films. Like, if I was doing a top 10 most watched movies of all time, Aliens would be in there.
Look into my eye.
James Cameron is just a master of filmmaking. The more I think about this guy, I think he might be the greatest director of all time. He's definitely in the conversation, the top 5 or whatever you want to call it. I mean, this guy is responsible for the Terminator, Terminator 2, and Aliens. I mean, if they were only the 3 movies you ever made in your life, you would be classed as a genius anyway, but he did go on to make other great films as well. So I hold this guy in very high regard. And again, he showed how to do a sequel just like he did with Terminator 2, even though this one came first. What I think about Aliens is the biggest positive for this movie is the characters. This might be the best bunch of characters put together in a movie ever. I mean, you've got movies like Pulp Fiction and stuff where just each character brings something. But here I think that is the case as well. And first off, we do have Sigourney Weaver playing Ellen Ripley once again here, reprising her role. And she is basically having nightmares about the alien and being impregnated by one of the face huggers and stuff, and it's basically playing on her mind. She can't get past this episode from the first movie and move on with her life, and she is being asked to go to LV-426 with these Marines and act as an advisor, and she is very hesitant at first, but she knows deep down she has to do this in order to overcome her demons and just get rid of these aliens once and for all. So I like how the movie gives her enough reason to go back into this hellhole, basically. And I really like how she is probably as tough as all these Marines, but she doesn't show any of that. And she takes no bullshit off of anyone. She never feels out of place. She just keeps very quiet and assesses the situation. But when push comes to shove, she shows people who's boss. And she never takes any shit off that little sleazeball bear either. But I love how these Marines are all saying how tough they are. They've got all the muscle and stuff, but they take her for granted a little bit. Like when Vasquez says, "Who's Snow White?" I don't think they realize how tough Ripley actually is. But we've got Marines like Vasquez, who I've just mentioned there. Now, James Cameron made 2 great female protagonists in his movies, in Sarah Connor and Ellen Ripley. And even though Vasquez isn't a main protagonist, she is a real tough-ass feminine side character. I absolutely love her in this movie with all her little one-liners here and there. But she just wants to kick ass. Like, when she's ready to blow the aliens away, she says, "Let's rock." I mean, I love Vasquez. She is awesome in this movie.
You only need to know one thing: where they are.
And Hicks as well, played by Michael Biehn. He's always a welcome addition to movies. He's like the more level-headed Marine who you kind of listen to a little bit more than the other ones, because the other ones are sort of going off here and there and just wanting to show how tough they are. But Michael Biehn hasn't got to show off to anyone here as Hicks. He's kind of like Ripley in the first film, where He's the more smarter ones of the bunch, really. But yeah, this movie is just full of fantastic characters, especially when it involves the Marines. I mean, they are absolute badasses, as the general states in this movie, but Hudson has got to be my favourite character in this entire film. Yes, even probably more than Ellen Ripley. I just love Bill Paxton in this movie. He's an absolute phenomenal actor, and he provides the most entertainment throughout this runtime. He's got all the comedic one-liners. He's just going off on tangents here and there. He's involved in all the great scenes. I just love how amazing he is in this movie, and he's just one of them who shouts his mouth off, and he never knows when to shut up, but you don't want him to shut up. And he's got a great little character arc going across the film as well. I just think Hudson is one of my favourite characters in movie history.
Any questions? What is it, Private?
How do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?
I mean, every time I watch Aliens, though, I always just think to myself, how do movies get better than this? And the answer is, they don't. I mean, it's just got everything. It is constantly throwing stuff at you. It's got characters bouncing off one another constantly in the movie. We've got great explosion scenes and special effects. I mean, that plane when it explodes is absolutely awesome. There's great practical effects with the aliens and stuff. There is people backstabbing each other here and there. It's got awesome dialogue. It's got everything you want in a movie. And it just never, ever stops. It never halts the brakes. It just keeps on delivering all the way to an absolutely exhilarating third act. But James Cameron just knows how to make a sequel. He takes the core of Alien, the story, where it's basically just alien attacking humans, but this time we have more aliens at the helm. It just raises the stakes even more. And he took a very slow burn horror sci-fi movie and turned it into basically an action film with little horror elements here and there. It's an absolute masterclass in how to make a sequel. And as the movie goes on, you realise that the walls are really closing in on our main characters who we've loved throughout the first hour and a half of this runtime. But, you know, it just feels like the stakes are getting raised and raised and raised. And I love it when movies corner your characters into a situation and you've got to sort of champion them to get out of it, because the odds just seem impossible. And they really should have took Ripley's warnings about these aliens a lot more seriously. As the movie goes on, we realise that, you know, these things are terribly dangerous. We knew that as a viewer anyway, but some of the Marines just thought they could kick their asses, and it's just all coming on top for them. And as Hudson states, game over, man, game over. So as the film goes on, it just becomes a lot more of a dangerous situation. And you're, as a viewer, thinking, man, what's going to be the outcome of this? Like I said, Hudson's panicking and stuff. You know, after being this badass, he's sort of shouting his mouth off, going, oh my God, we're all going to die and stuff like that. But Ripley comes into her own once again here, just like she did in the first movie, where she is very level-headed, she is smart, she doesn't panic, and she just gets control of the situation and becomes a leader. She mightn't have the 80 pounds of muscle that all the other Marines have got, but she is a tough-ass female protagonist in different ways. And she can kick ass herself anyway, but I love how she grabs the situation, takes the bull by the horns, and just tells everyone what to do and how they're going to get out of this. And that is why she is just such a great character. We all look up to her as a viewer, and so do the Marines in this movie when they are in dangerous situations. They see her as the way out. But this also just shows how fucking dangerous the xenomorphs are in this film. I mean, I love the special edition where we show the sentry guns. They set sentry guns up in each corner of the compound where the aliens can actually get in, and they've got 500 rounds of bullets there, and they just will blast anything that moves in front of it. And they think they're going to be safe and stuff, and they've got to wait 17 days for evac, which is, fucking hell, that must seem like 3 years on this damn planet. But I love how, you know, the aliens try to get in and nearly all the bullets are wasted within seconds. I mean, they think that's their defense mechanism, but no, I mean, that is just like plan A gone out of the window there. It's going to be a very, very hard task for all these characters to survive. Now, I gotta mention Burke here, who's the ultimate piece of shit in this movie. He's the ultimate slime ball, isn't he? But he wants to impregnate Newt and Ripley in this movie and bring them back so he can explore this species more, obviously keeping it all to himself. Now, I had one major problem with this movie for many years, and I can't believe until later life I did not realize and fully grasp the conversation here. Now, I had this idea that this was just convenient writing, that Ripley woke up after 56 years and the aliens started to attack the humans on LV-426. But it's because of Ripley's story, of course, that Burke sent Newt's family to go and look at that dormant ship from the first film. And I can't believe that I didn't fully grasp that conversation until later on. So yeah, no negatives with this film at all. That was my one negative, but why did I ever doubt James Cameron's writing? I think the conversation could have been made a little bit better and clearer to the viewer, but oh man, at least Burke just becomes dog meat pal. Now I just got to mention the third act of this movie, guys. This may be the best third act of any movie I have ever seen. If not, it's one of them. But this just shows the chops of Ripley, and she will go up against anything if she has to. I mean, this queen alien, which is the dangerous xenomorph of them all, has kidnapped Newt. She has been taken down deep down into the facility. It is going to explode within 20 minutes. And Ripley decides to go down there, guessing if she's alive, try and get her back and get back in time before this thing explodes. I mean, that is the ultimate piece of bravery right there, isn't it? Ripley is a fucking badass.
Get away from her, you bitch!
But what I love about this is the whole redemption mother arc here that the movie has going for it. Now, Ripley was in space for 56 years. Yes, it wasn't fully her fault, but she had a daughter who she promised she would be home for her 11th birthday. And unfortunately, her daughter died at the age of 66 by natural causes in this film. And naturally, it moves on. It's not a forced narrative or anything with Ripley becoming sort of Newt's new mother, because Newt has sort of lost her mum, Ripley has lost her daughter, and this climax of the movie makes all that well together beautifully, I think. The whole redemption arc where she has the chance of motherhood again, but she really wants to do it for Newt anyway, not for herself to be a mother, but it all coincidentally just comes together, and she is not going to let this kid die. She is going to go down there and get her back, and it really does feel like there is going to be a mother sort of daughter story in future when they get back home, although studios did have different ideas, but more on that in Alien 3. But I just think it's beautifully put together. It's what makes the film an amazing story between these two characters, I feel. That's the core human side of this film. But that fucking queen alien, man, I mean, James Cameron just expands the xenomorph into an even more terrifying creature. And what a brilliant design it is, with all these amazing practical effects going on and stuff. I mean, it's absolutely sensational to look at, even today, almost 40 years later. So yeah, masterclass in filmmaking once again, and we get a great little final battle at the end there, just to top off this amazing movie. And I just gotta mention, it was a cool little idea to have the android Bishop save the day in this movie, instead of sort of turning his back on all the characters like in the first film. Although it does feel like it's about to, but that is a great little sort of comeback for Bishop there, I think. You really do feel like the first movie is repeating itself until the last second. Bishop here to save the day. What a great little touch. Honestly, guys, I could gush about this movie all day. I was kind of afraid to do this review because I know I'm going to miss things out, but this would just go on for an hour or over an hour. Maybe I'll get a guest on one day and we can discuss the movie back and forth in great detail. But I have zero negatives with this film. It's one of them movies I will continue to watch throughout the rest of my life. I've already watched it twice this year, so it just shows the power of this film, the rewatchability it has. What a fantastic movie. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Aliens a 10 out of 10. An absolute masterclass in how to make a sequel, and simply one of the greatest films of all time. Okay guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Aliens is that the set on this movie was actually reused for the Axis chemical plant in Batman 1989. Yes, when the crew of Batman came onto this set, it was still set up like an alien nest, believe it or not. Yeah, that's madness to me. Two of my favourite movies right there, using the same movie set. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. What did you think of Aliens? Please leave your comments down below. I'll get back to you all, I promise. And if you want to check out my review of Alien, I'll leave that down below in my Alien playlist. I'm going to be doing Alien 3 next as well, so look out for that. Thanks so much guys. You take care, and I'll see you on the next video.